Hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 6th day of April, 2023. Well, I've done a little shuffling already. We'll do a little bit more when the time is right. But right now, let's go ahead and take the rune. I hope everybody's doing well, doing well this week. It looks like maybe the snow is over, but knock on wood, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But we had it this weekend, and we had it the other day, and I don't know. But I think it's going to be in the 50s today, so I need to check the weather, though, and see if that's changed. Because, you know, you can look at it, and 5 minutes later, it's different, so I don't know. Well, today we have Kenaz. Oops, that's the wrong way. Looks like a greater than sign. This is a light of spirit expressed outward. It's the torch. It's a rune of the will. And but basically it's invoking spirit into your interactions with other people. I mean, that's basically how I see it. But essentially it can be about healing. It can just simply be the torch, the spiritual torch, the higher awareness that lights your path. Let's see what the Geomancy runes are, though, or the rune is for today, not the runes. I'm going to throw down the element. Wait, I didn't throw that down very well. All right, let's put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth. Okay, we have Pur. Pur is it's the little boy rune. Well, that's Puella. That's his sister. Both energies, whether it's Pur or Puella, they're little kid energies. So with Pur being the little boy, here you have a lack of impulse control. I mean, if you raise boys, I raised two boys, you know, and I wouldn't say that they were always into things, because I don't think they were, but there were times, you know, of course, because they're very curious, very wanting to know everything, and Pur is just one of those things where, like with Puella, the little girl is here, there, and everywhere. It's, you know, she's very scattered, but because her curiosity is running amok. Well, the same thing's true with Pur. It's just that it's the little boy energy where you really you're not listening, and you're lacking some impulse control, and so, you know, maybe Kenaz is lighting the way to understand the consequences of that, giving you a little more clarity as to how you should be seeing things or how you should be reacting to things. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at the cards. I'm going to go ahead and cut the deck. Well, we have an ace, we have a card from the major arcana, and we have a card from swords. You know, I think that I'm going to, you know, I'm going to move this around. I'm going to move the swords card first, and then have the major card, and then the ace. I think that's going to read a little bit better, because you need to have some kind of an awakening or awareness. And with Kenaz, and letting go of the lack of impulse control, and don't be so reactive to what's going on, trying to understand the overall picture a little bit better, and that's where the clarity of Kenaz comes in. But we're going to begin with the three of swords. Now, we had this a couple weeks ago, I think, and it was, and I think I entitled the reading "Betrayal." Here we have, because that's what this is. This is betrayal. You see three swords piercing a heart. You see these two here are slightly behind this one, though, and so there's the betrayal aspect. Two have betrayed one. And you don't have to get caught up in the numbers of the thing on this either. This could just be, it could be more than two people involved in the betrayal. It could be one person involved in the betrayal. But so just kind of look at this a little bit loosely. The clouds are raining down. We got rain coming down from the clouds in the background there. But basically, something's happened in a relationship where there's been some betrayal. Now, whether or not this is a love triangle, it could be. And I can't say that it's not, given the cards here. But I can't say that it is either. But with the Ace of Pentacles at the end, there's a new path forming. So maybe, but maybe out of the betrayal that you're feeling here with the 3, obviously something's happened and you're upset by the whole thing. But it's not a card of the water element. It's a card of the air element. And so the swords are going to have to do with deception. They could have to do with, again, honesty, also fairness and balance and justice, interactions. This could simply be an argument where you thought you had support and you really don't. You thought that people were on your side and they're not. It could be something like that. But here, some deception has happened. And it's heartbreaking. And you're going to have... So whether or not it's a love triangle, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just that you thought you could trust some people, and now you've discovered that you can't. And it's upsetting. And now you're going to have to make a decision. And how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to do that with temperance. You're going to do that in moderation. You're going to do that by here. Well, let's talk about the card first. Here you have the angel. Clearly, you have the glyph for fire on the angel's gown up here. You see the higher awareness radiating from the angel's head there. You see the sun disk right here in the center there. You can't really see a band that comes around from it, but so I don't know what's holding this on, other than it's an angel, and maybe it's just part of their visage, if you will. But the angel's pouring water from one cup to another, so you've got a lot of different energy here. You've got, again, the glyph for fire, so the fire elements there. You see the sun rising back in the distance there, between two peaks. Again, balance. You see the path coming down from the mountain to the street, or to the little pool of water. The angel's got 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on the land. So you've got the earth element. You've got air with the wings. So all elements are represented in temperance, although it seems to be balancing will with emotion for the most part. And again, when you've been deceived, when you realize that your trust has been broken, it really takes the act of will to not freak out about it. I mean, maybe you do for a short time, but then you've got to get your wits about you, and you've got to bring that into some control so that you can make a different decision about what it is you need to do. Again, you're looking at the yellow lilies, the little water lilies there. So there's got to be some way, again, with temperance, to adapt, to bring yourself under a different measure of control. Again, when you're balancing fire with water, you're balancing will with emotion, and both can get out of control, can't they? So I think that what you're looking at here, you're trying to heal that. I don't know, maybe you feel like your integrity's been affected, or you just feel like with the awful thing that's happened here, maybe it's just something where I mean maybe you're just having to get yourself under that emotional control and to exercise a little bit better will about the whole thing. You can get angry, you can want to take revenge, you can do all kinds of things, but that reflects the will and the emotions, I guess, being out of control and not having some kind of a moderate type of response to the whole thing. I mean, at some point, you're going to have to do that, no matter how angry you might be here and upset you might be. At some point, there's going to be a new day that's going to be forming. And you're going to have to, you see the sun's coming up between two peaks there. And a new path may be forming that may take you through this nice archway. Here we have a hand reaching out from the clouds with a coin, a large coin in it. The Ace of Pentacles. The aces are in every suit are all about the genesis of that particular suit, all of the energy involved in that. So to me, I look at the aces as more of a, I have a little more heavier weight on those particular cards, like I would with the major arcana cards. Not so much with court cards or anything. They're kind of an outlier, but with there, I would basically liken the ace to the fool in the major arcana, in the major part of the arcana, and then also with maybe the page with the court, and there you have with the page, that person is a student, so everything's new. You have maybe a message giver, a student, undeveloped potential. So again, undeveloped potential here, undeveloped potential with the fool. So there's those three beginning points in each of the groupings of the tarot, and I think that they share some energy there, some ideas about what they're all about, some interpretations. I think that again, you know, you're looking at, let's see, card 14 with temperance. You're looking at a 5 energy there. 5 and 3 is 8, so that's inner strength. Ace is 1, and so that would be 9. So with 9, you're talking endings and completion. You're talking the messenger. You're talking spirituality, generosity. All of that. But if there's an endings or completion feeling to this, I think it begins here, where you begin to get a hold of yourself, and so that you can more adequately deal with what's going on here and adapt to the new situation of, I don't trust these people anymore. And maybe there's a way to resolve it. Maybe there's not. But if there's not, then you might see this card as a new day is coming as well, and you need to be ready for it by managing and balancing will with emotion, basically, so that you can keep your head about you and keep your wits about you, and you can make the decisions you need to make, especially if you're looking at the sun and the path here as a new day is dawning and maybe a new path is unfolding. From that new balance that you have, that new perspective that you have. And then you're ready then when the Ace of Pentacles comes in, you're on this path of healing. You see the lilies here. You're on this path of healing. You go through the archway, and yes, there's some mountains back there, so there's likely going to be challenges in your life. But for your own sense of security, your own sense of material security, maybe, if there's finances involved here, maybe your material security has been affected. But a new path is opening once you can get a different perspective, balancing will with emotion, adapting, being more moderate in your perspective. Maybe there were signs here you just didn't see. You were too caught up and you just didn't see it. Or maybe, you know, it was thoroughly done behind your back, and you really put your faith in things that you couldn't ultimately, but you didn't know that. You know, they deceived you. They took you there. So it's like a grifter or a con man who sells you a bill of goods, and it sounds reasonable, it fits with your worldview, and you believe them, and then all of a sudden they take your money and they're off and running, right, and they're gone. It's just something where your ability to trust has been affected. And so to get that back, you need to exercise a little temperance, a little moderation. And then you're ready then to maybe take that leap of faith into something new that could be unfolding for you. You don't necessarily know what's beyond this archway here, but you're willing to take that risk just so that you can get into a different space, you know, where you may be able to trust someone again. So you know, I think that the Geomancy rune Pur is um, probably influencing both the Three of Swords and Temperance. You know, a lack of impulse control may have been at the heart of what happened here. Maybe they're sorry. Maybe there's no way for you to forgive them, really. I mean, maybe you do, but you can't. Just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you can hang out with them anymore. You just don't trust them anymore. It's like, well, you know, I get it. You're sorry. I appreciate that. I accept your apology, but I'm gonna go take a trip. You know, I'm gonna go do something else, and maybe my path is gonna take me somewhere else now, and that's okay. You know, it's having the will within to say, well, I matter too, and I don't trust the situation any longer, and I wish you all well, but I need to go my own way now. It could be something like that. You have that clarity that you get when you start to calm down, and which temperance is really about doing that, because you've just come through a shock, probably, you know. But at some point you've got to calm down, and you've got to be able to look at the situation in a way that's reasonable enough where if you need to make a decision, where you need to take another route, you need to take a new path, that you have the presence of mind to do that, that you have just accepted that this is, you know, there's another aspect of temperance is acceptance, that this is my reality right now, and this is the truth of what happened, and now I need to calm down and regain a perspective that suits me, not suits them. They're irrelevant at this point. Whoever, you know, messed with you in whatever way, right, who deceived you in some way, you just have to be able to let that go and decide where you're going now. If it's, and it doesn't look like it's staying within this situation. It looks like you're just going to need some time. Now, maybe there will be a time in the future where you can reconnect with the people involved and maybe have another conversation about it that isn't probably so heated or emotional. But if not, then it is what it is. You know, it just seems like, you know, you walk through that archway and, you know, your whole life is going to change. You know, there's a chance for that here, irrespective of the challenges, irrespective of those mountains you see on the other side of that archway. You shouldn't fear it. You're ready. You've been baptized by fire, or, you know, air, if you will, and you're ready to go and find a new path forward. So if this is a love relationship, you know, then it may mean that you are going to take a different road. If it's not, though, and if it's just simply about somebody being deceptive or people being deceptive, then it may still, the same type of decisions may need to happen, but it's for other reasons. And so, and again, I try to keep these as general as possible, so there's a lot of different ways. In other words, a lot of different situations can apply to the reading. So, you know, if you've been feeling like people are not being honest with you, if you feel like there's something going on behind the scenes and you need to know about it and you don't know about it, then this may be signaling that you know, you need to look further. And once you do, if you discover that, you know, something deceptive has happened, you need to eventually get yourself under control about that and get your emotions under control, and what you want to do about it under control, so that you can make the best decision possible for yourself. You're not reacting out of anger or ego or anything else. You're simply saying, okay, this is the situation at hand, and this is what I think I need to do about it, and then go do it. You know, it's just the path before you. It may be uncertain. It may be, I mean, most likely filled with challenges, but that's okay, because the experience that you've just had has prepared you in some way, hasn't it? To take a different road, to take a different path, and maybe to be a little more aware of people maybe you trusted too soon. Maybe you had every reason to trust. You know, there's a lot of ways to see this, and a lot of lessons that can be taken from a situation like that. If the signs were there and you knew it and you ignored it, well, okay, then some of this is you're dealing with your own inner inner drama over it all. It's not so much trying to keep your will and emotions in balance to deal with these people, but maybe to deal with your own issues that may have contributed to this. I don't know. So there's, again, a lot of ways to look at this, a lot of situations that this could apply to. But the one thing is, with Pur, the geomancy rune here, what you don't want to do is act in a way that doesn't, well, that's impulsive. You know, don't make any impulsive decisions about anything. You really need to look at the situation and be sure of what it is, of how you feel, and what your expectations are, and whether or not anything can be salvaged here. And if it can't, and it seems, again, like, you know, with this card and a little bit of this card is suggesting that a new day is coming, and a new path is unfolding, and maybe you need to look at that and see if that's where your future lies. So, but again, lots of choices coming into the weekend. Sorry. But you never know. You never know. Well, the stuff is not yet up. Well, one thing is up on the blog for next week. The week ahead is up. I still have to put up the correspondences. I have to do that one, and I'm probably going to load that on the blog today. And if you can click on more underneath the video, and it'll open up a little window that has the link to the blog. It's Stepping Aside. The address is imsteppingaside.com. Down, but then there's a explanation of what I'm doing here, and then you go down further, and that's where you're going to see all the links to wherever I am, either on social media. Substack link is there. Let's see, Patreon, also Medium. I write on those three places as well. I publish over in those places. So you can find all that stuff there. Remember that we do this Monday and Thursday. Let's see, anything else I need to tell you about? I don't think so. Oh, I haven't done the Exploring Tarot one yet. I'll do that here probably tomorrow, or maybe later today. I'll do that one, and I'll upload that as well. Now, those are going to be, they'll be live on the blog in the midnight hour of Sunday, the 6th, is it? No, the 9th, I'm sorry. Is it the 9th? Yeah, Sunday the 9th. Let me get that down there. I put my calendar up. So that's when it's going to go live, is in the midnight hour there of the 9th. And they also publish over on the other places as well. Little versions of them. Some of it's the same, some of it isn't. But, you know, if you're interested in all of that, check that out. I'd love you to do that. And again, click subscribe here, and come back on Monday and Thursday for more of the stuff that we do here. I like working with tarot. I like working with runes. A book I'm writing right now that I'm still not finished with. I was hoping to be finished with it this winter, but it didn't work out. I had other things going on, and it just didn't happen. But I'm toward the, I won't say I'm toward the end of it, because there's some other stuff I need to still write there. But it has to do with runes, and so that's the only thing I'll say about that. But I've been working with tarot and runes for a very long time, probably longer with runes than with tarot. But I like how it gives you ideas about how to see things, and maybe to consider other ways of looking at a situation. I love that it can alert you to things that could be going on in your life that you weren't necessarily aware of, like with this particular reading. I don't know. I think that we can get caught up in our own perceptions, and I think that we forget that we are souls inhabiting these bodies, and that we really ought to be experiencing life from that standpoint, that higher perspective standpoint, than the reactive, lower vibrational ego will give. I wrote a book called Shifting Perception, which essentially gives various meditations and affirmations and whatnot about how you transmute ego into spirit, how you get out of that reactive place. And it takes effort. It's not just simply a choice that you make. You can't say, oh, today I will be less reactive. Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you need to have some other kinds of things that can put you in an alternate space, basically, that meditation can do, doing the visualizations, doing the journeying exercises that can get you thinking in terms of the difference between higher awareness and the reactive ego. And when you start to get in that space, then you work with those things, and you're able then, I think, to move your awareness out of the reaction and more into the observation stage of things, and so that you truly understand what's going on before you form an opinion. We can just jump right in and we think we know, but we don't. And I think that when you take that time to do that, that's where higher self is coming in and getting you to understand that there's more going on here than what you realize. And I think that's what, at least what I try to do here with the As Above, So Below reading, is to get people to consider this higher way of looking at things. Standing back and looking at things from what you truly are, which is a soul, versus, how you may appear in these bodies. It's really not, what you think things really are. It's an illusion. It's a projection of consciousness. And you can project whatever you want. And we forget that. We get caught up and we're reacting and reacting and reacting and reacting. And we never stop to think that you're really involved in just a very small portion of the truth of that moment. And if you could understand more about that, maybe your reactions would be different. And you might see things in a less judgmental way. You might take things in a more measured way, instead of, being, getting your back up and reacting and freaking out about stuff all the time. It's not a healthy place to be. And yet that's where we are. We're there, and whatever we can do to remove ourselves from that, even for a short time, has got to be a good thing, right? So that's kind of the goal of this, and so I appreciate everybody that's subscribed and watches this, and hopefully it just gives you something to think about. And I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or how to do it. I just think that there's this big place that we forget about, and that's our soul and our soul's awareness, and what the soul is watching, going on. I mean, is learning all kinds of things, it's true, but at the same time, how much more meaningful would that be in terms of our own ascension, in terms of our own spiritual development, if we can live there more than we live in the lower reactive ego place? So anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.